What's a story where the bad guys are actually, completely, 100% right, to the point where it's weird the story keeps calling them the bad guys? Every single Donald Duck cartoon. Dude usually just wants to chill out without being bothered, and Therese always someone bothering him, and then he gets blamed for standing up for his own needs. The older I get, the more I empathize with Donald Duck. Disney understood that back in the day, too. His cartoons were actually more popular than Mickey's because he was more relatable. When Disney was asked to make a cartoon explaining how income tax helped the war effort during World War II, they chose Donald, because he would be relatably frustrated with the whole process at first but learn how it worked. Donald is really interesting actually, because he was promoted to sergeant and was given discharge papers in the 80s as thanks for his service during World War II, due to the fact that he canonically joined the Army in 1941 in a Disney short. He proceeded to star in the most Disney wartime shorts and be featured on a high proportion of wartime badges Disney designed. Over 200 of them. I believe he's also an honorary member of both the Navy and Marine Corps, thanks to his moral and propaganda contributions to the war effort. And has PTSD from his time in the Army. Sometimes, when I'm out walking Pluto, and I swear I can still hear "ah yuck" coming from trees. Mrs. Doubtfire, because Pierce Brosnan was really nice and was a lonely middle-aged man who wanted a family, but Mrs. Doubtfire was so mean to him and even tried to kill him with pepper knowing he was allergic. Don't forget that drive-by fruiting. Run-by fruiting. That guy in B movie. Girlfriend leaves him for a ducking bee, said B proceeds to gaslight him into thinking he's crazy anyway. That movie sure was weird. Leaves him to duck a bee. Just to be clear, edit, some of y'all are monster fuckers and honestly power to you. He's just a little bee. And he happens to be the nicest bee I've met in a long time. Long time? What are you talking about? Are there other bugs in your life? The best line in the movie. Why does yogurt night have to be so difficult? The Iranian yogurt is not the issue here. Jack and the Beanstalk. Some dick finds the giant's house and starts taking all his best stuff. Peter Pan. The pirates are just grown-up lost boys that he brought to Neverland. They just want to leave and return to their lives. Also, if you read the book, Hess been kidnapping Wendy's female ancestors for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Every time the laundry and dirty dishes stack up too high, he goes to Earth and finds a Wendy to come clean up for him, so he never, ever has to clean up for himself. At the end of the novel, he makes a deal with Wendy's parents that she can come to Neverland to take care of him for a few weeks every year. And when she gets too old, he takes her daughter, and then her daughter, and then her daughter. The Wendys never get to go on any of the adventures, of course, just stay back at headquarters and cook and clean for a team of disgusting and poorly behaved boys. NGL, that sounds like it could be a Lovecraft story. This immortal thing that can get anywhere, has a living shadow, and wears the face of a young boy, insists on enslaving your female descendants for perpetuity. It's straight up fair folk shit. They are terrific, in that they beget terror. Pratchett lives on Smile. Elves are wonderful. They provoke wonder. Elves are marvelous. They cause marvels. Elves are fantastic. They create fantasies. Elves are glamorous. They project glamour. Elves are enchanting. They weave enchantment. Elves are terrific. They beget terror. The thing about words is that meanings can twist just like a snake, and if you want to find snakes, look for them behind words that have changed their meaning. No one ever said elves are nice. Elves are bad. Terry Pratchett, Lords and Ladies #X200B, edit, thanks for the gold smile. Why are dwarves good with axes? Because elves live in trees. Tom the Cat. He was trying to rid of a mouse that frequently stole food and trashed the house. Tom was just doing his job as the cat of the house. Jerry used to instigate and taunt him. One time he got Tom punished and he got his head chopped off by the guillotine. Alouette, gentile alouette, je te plumerai lot. This is a wild pull lol but high school musical. I'd be pissed if I worked my ass off for years to get the lead in a musical only for them to give it to someone else who didn't technically attend the auditions. Not to forget that Troy is the villain in HSM2 for trying to sort out his future as a college basketball player rather than ducking about. And yet in 3, Gabriella leaves early for college without telling anyone, and that isn't treated as wrong. Any rom-com where the main character cheats on their partner with the new love interest that they end up with. Katherine Heigl's character in Knocked Up. When I watched it as a teenager, I thought she was a frigid bitch who needed to lighten up and let Seth Rogen's character have fun. Now, as an adult in my 30s, I'm like, wow, that dude did not have his shit together. I get why she was stressed out. Edit, please stop with the actually comments. I don't care. The story of Medusa. I'd like a version of Medusa where in the end she just settles down with a nice blind man. Iceman in Top Gun. I used to work in naval aviation and he was totally right, Maverick was dangerous and unreliable. Edit, I really wasn't expecting this comment to blow up. I fully understand the meaning of bad guy, but in this instance I took it to mean anything from antagonist, villain, foil, or adversary, but this is Reddit and people are super pedantic and literal. My role was as a naval flight surgeon, so besides being my squadron's doctor, I flew in the back seat with them, sat on mishap investigation boards, like the one depicted in the movie, and generally helped determine fitness for flight duty. Maverick wouldn't have lasted long with the antics he pulled and his personality Earl, but where is the fun and drama in that? He really just seems calm and minding his own business in the original. Professional even. He has an ego but no more than the others. Makes sense that he was the Top Gun. Makes sense that he was the Top Gun. Kudos to the writers for not orchestrating an ex machina where Maverick gets the trophy. The real Top Gun was the friends we made along the way. That weird episode of Friends where Phoebe is convinced her dead mother is reincarnated as a cat, so she tries to steal it from its owners, and Ross is presented as the bad guy for pointing out how ridiculous this is. I read that this plot was actually suggested by one of the main writers who had recently lost their own parent. Nobody wanted to point out that it was stupid because they didn't want to seem insensitive, so they all just went with it. To be fair, it was definitely not out of character for Phoebe. Red Foreman was right, Eric and his friends were all dumbasses that need a boot in the ass. The Rock in the end, the general just wanted benefits paid to families. I'm not about to kill 80,000 innocent people. Do you think I'm out of my ducking mind? We bluffed, they called it. The mission is over. Excuse me, General, but what about the ducking money? There is no money. There is no ducking money. And the look on that dude's face when he says that. The day we took hostages we became mercenaries, and mercenaries get paid. I want my ducking money. Tony Todd. Candyman. Rocket Man. Law-abiding citizen does it well from both characters' perspective. Yes, but that ending was horseshit. They chickened out so hard. I really wanted the bad guy to win this one. Would have been better if he died setting the last bomb off successfully or something like that. Most heist movies. Oh, he's doing it to afford medicine for his sick child. Okay, but he just killed 14 security guards, none of whom will be going home to their families now. Police Academy. They let a bunch of violent, unstable, dishonest deadbeats into the police force, and the chief of police was supposed to be okay with that? He was doing the public a favor by trying to weed out the worst ones. It's a different take, but Mahoney didn't even want to be there in the first place, but I think it was court-ordered or something. In fact, most of them were misfits and probably never ever should have worn a uniform. Peter Rabbit. He was a thief, a glutton, a trespasser, a burglar. A naughty little rabbit. Meanwhile, Mr. McGregor only wanted to produce something of value and feed his family. Fenrir Fenris from the Norse mythology. 1. Taken from his home. 2. Everyone was afraid of him even though he did nothing. 3. Betrayed. 4. Chained. 5. Sword stuck in his open mouth, preventing him from closing it. 6. Laughed. 7. Imprisoned for many years. Tell me anyone who would not become crazy after something like this. He was also clever enough to know of the trap and very likely wouldn't dare to fight Odin, being aware of the consequences. Ironic is that we have nations doing worse for less. I think it's the most common interpretation of the mythology that the Norse gods doomed themselves in their paranoia, like because they knew Fenrir was prophesied to try and kill them, they inadvertently provided him with the motivation to do so. To quote Master Oogway, one often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.